So a wee bit of geography. Malawi is located in the southern eastern part of Africa and shares borders with Tanzania in the north, Mozambique to the east and south, and Zambia to the west. There are 4 mobile network operators. The main MNOs are Airtel and TNM, which were the first entrants in the late 90s and now cover most of the population. They both offer 2G, 3G, and 4G. MTL, much like BT here, started off as a government company and the sole provider of fixed PSTN, then was privatized in 2000. It invested in CDMA technology for its mobile network, and due to interoperability issues with GSM, it failed to attract subscribers. So most of its subscribers use it for data only, not voice. ACL entered the market more than 10 years later than the first 3 MNOs. It offers both GSM and CDMA. In a nutshell, the positive thing about the status of mobile coverage is that over the years, coverage has extended to most parts of the country. Here is the coverage map of TNM. The areas that are not covered are mostly national parks, forest reserves, or game reserves. The negative thing about market competition is that the market is monopolized by Airtel and TNM. As you can see here, the results of a 2019 survey conducted by the National Statistical Office, NSO, on behalf of the regulator, MAGRA. It shows that Airtel and TNM are the main players in the market. Slide 2, please, Bob. Thank you. What are some of the consequences of this status quo? The service is not affordable to most of the population. According to the 2019 survey, only 14.6% of the respondents had access to the internet, and it was worse among rural-based respondents at 9%. And on the second graph, about 36% of the respondents said that internet service is too expensive. Such a limited subscriber base results in a slow rate of return on investment. Manifestations of this challenge include new entrants like ACL find it difficult to penetrate the market. G-Mobile, which was issued a license in 2008, the license was revoked in 2010 because they failed to roll out. Existing MNOs have limited resources to invest in network performance improvement. As we can see on the graph, 85% of the respondents complained of slow internet, and about 40% said they experienced intermittent connections. In terms of 5G, there hasn't been much talk yet about 5G among the MNOs and the regulator. The key question is the business case for network upgrade to 5G. Slide 3, please, Bob. Thank you. So what are the prospects of 5G shared spectrum for private network? In the light of this status quo, there's need to think about new business models, new use cases, and to focus on new industries. Number 1, there's need for leveraging of investments and conducive regulatory policies. For example, shared infrastructure first. A good example is the case of ACL. Having failed to attract voice subscribers, ACL partnered with leading ISPs to provide their internet service on its cellular network using CDMA and GSM routers. And since, unlike Airtel and TNM, ACL network is not congested, users experienced faster data connections. And that's how ACL managed to gain an edge and survived and even managed to invest in 4G. Then spectrum sharing is also another option. but there is need for regulatory instruments to be put in place. I'll talk more about this when I come to use cases. The cost of spectrum is still prohibitive, especially for new players, and incentives such as license exemption, licensing could help to spur private 5G networks. Secondly, there is need to focus on new use cases, especially upcoming industries that have been earmarked for in the national development plan. Connectivity has potential to boost productivity of these upcoming industries, leading to economic growth of the country, and ultimately more people and business would be able to afford the internet service. Mining is one industry that is on the rise. For example, Malawi is said to become one of the world's top 5 largest exporters of rare earth elements, with China threatening to stop export of rare earth elements to the US. The US has had already talks already with Malawi miners. I think that was back in 2019. And these mines are located in remote hills, which are not covered by MNOs, or they are not adequately covered by MNOs. So there's potential for private networks for these mining sites and lease of idle spectrum from MNOs for these private networks. Agriculture is also another growing industry. There's construction of large-scale irrigation schemes, and in the center is partially complete and also partially operational, and in the south, in the Shire Valley, it's nearly complete. And these are like thousands of hectares under irrigation. And furthermore, last year, Malawi legalized production of medicinal cannabis and industrial hemp to replace tobacco production, which has been the country's main forex earner, but is on the decline. The stringent regulatory requirements for security of cannabis farms and of transportation of the produce can best be implemented using digital connected security devices. So in these agricultural industries, one can envision low power private networks covering a large area of greenhouses and using shared spectrum or spectrum underlay. Rural connectivity is also another use case. The Malawi government has changed its policy from implementing centralized telecenters to connecting schools right in the communities. And the COVID pandemic has highlighted the impact of the digital divide on the right to education. There's therefore renewed commitment to invest in connecting schools and communities in order to ensure continuity of learning during pandemics. And lastly, healthcare and disaster early warning systems are areas of potential investment. There's already been investment in this area, and there is potential for upscaling of these applications using 5G private networks. These are but a few examples of potential applications of private networks in the case of Malawi. I know there could be more. Thank you for your attention. I'll now hand over back to Bob.
Thank you, Tawachi.